Today, I want to talk about something totally different and talk about books. Over the past 3 months, I have listened to, on audiobook, the three books of the Thrawn Star Wars trilogy. Every morning, I wake up, I get in my car, and I drive to work, and I listen to audiobooks. And most of the time, it is Star Wars audiobooks. And I finally reached the point where I decided I was going to go on the great endeavor of listening to the Thrawn trilogy, and it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I've listened to a lot of Star Wars books, and I'm still working through a lot of other ones, but I finally finished the three-part series of the Thrawn trilogy, and it was fantastic. Now, if you don't know anything about the Thrawn trilogy, it takes 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and Grand Admiral Thrawn is trying to take over the Empire and bring it back, and trying to become the full leader of the Empire. At this time, there is the New Republic, kind of like what we have now in The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Lady Organa Solo now, and Lando Calrissian are no longer generals in the rebellion, and they are just living out their lives and doing their own thing within the New Republic. Slowly in the first book, Thrawn is building up, and he's starting to try to push to take out the New Republic. The New Republic is starting to realize this is happening, and there are some interactions with Thrawn, and he also has a Dark Jedi with him, which is Jorah Sabaoth. Now, I've heard about this Jedi. I didn't really know anything about him. What a crazy, awesome character to have in this series. Now, Grand Admiral Thrawn, we know him from the Rebels TV show, and we also know him from Ahsoka, but he was originated from these books and from other books from the 90s and the early 2000s, and his character is really good in the books. I have to say, personally, and I'm sure all of the book fans are going to hate this, I think I like how they present him in the show better. Now, the only thing I like in the book better than in the show is that Thrawn was not taken away in Rebels. He's still there, and he's coming back. And they're kind of doing that now in Ahsoka, but in a whole different way. I like it in the books better that he's just out there. He's plotting, he's trying to come back, and he's going to do this whole thing. And I guess in Ahsoka, he is still doing that, but in a very long, convoluted way that was just kind of unnecessary. But it gave the purpose for the Ahsoka show. Another big character in these books is Mara Jade. If anyone doesn't know, that is Luke Skywalker's future wife, and something that is not created in the shows today. I don't know if Mara Jade's going to show up in Ahsoka Season 2. I hope they bring her in because she is an awesome character. In the beginning, she's annoying. All she wants to do is kill Luke Skywalker. Kill Luke Skywalker. She is the former apprentice or, just servant, a special assassin, the right hand of Darth Sidious. And Darth Sidious has ingrained in her brain and basically brainwashed her that she has to kill Luke Skywalker. So Mara Jade is fighting this voice of Sidious in her head. Sidious keeps saying, "You will kill Luke Skywalker." And constant, repetitive voice, the same line through her head throughout all three books. In the first book, it kind of like, you're hearing that voice. The second book, it's getting more and more pressured into her brain. And by the third book, it is just hitting her hard. She's traveling with these smugglers and Alan Carr, who is also a great addition to the Star Wars group. And I think all the additional characters within these three books are perfect additions and really enjoyed all of their characters. Now, before I go any further, I want to just talk about Mark Thompson. He is the narrator and the voice actor who did the voices and the reading for this entire audiobook, and he does a lot of other ones too that I have recently purchased. What an amazing voice actor. I think his Han Solo impression is spot on. I think he does a great Harrison Ford. His Luke Skywalker, everything else is pretty much like his normal voice. And of course, he kind of changes the inflection of his voice to do the women, which is good. He does it well. And the voice that he does for Thrawn is also good. I think I like the person. I think his name's Lars Mikkelsen, who does Thrawn in the series of Rebels. I think I liked his voice better. And the voice that he does for Jorah Sabaoth is insane. It's really good. It's very similar to Darth Sidious, but it's not quite there. The first two books are pretty much building up this story of how Thrawn is trying to come and attack the New Republic. And then Jorah Sabaoth is actually a clone of the original Sabaoth, and he thinks he's the original. And all he wants to do is take over the Empire. And he keeps telling Thrawn, "The Empire is mine. All of your forces are mine." And Thrawn's kind of allowing him to believe that because Thrawn is intelligent, he has a plan, and and he has ulterior motives. So he's going to allow him to believe this. And then, Sabaoth is just an insane lunatic. He is a madman, and he's trying to build his own Jedi force, and he's trying to recruit Luke Skywalker and Leia Organa, and trying to build up his own Jedi order of crazy Jedis, basically. In the second book, Luke actually goes to meet with him, kind of like the same deal with Empire Strikes Back. He hears this voice in the Force, Obi-Wan saying, "Go to the Dagobah system, there we will find Yoda." And then Jura Sabaoth in the books is kind of doing the same thing. He's calling to Luke through the Force, trying to bring him to him, to try to turn him to the, not dark side, but the loony bin Jedi side. Luke goes there and he immediately finds out, wow, this guy is off his rocker. I'm not going to be staying here. Mara Jade goes and actually takes him away, and they leave. And then they kind of know, okay, this guy is not in his right mind. He's crazy. We're not going to be dealing with him. Of course, throughout this entire time, Leia has been trained with the Force from Luke. So she is a half Jedi. She's still kind of like in training. And I don't know within these books if she's trying to become a full Jedi. I know that in the sequels, they said that she didn't want to actually do that. She trained to be a Jedi, and when she eventually became a full Jedi, she just said, I don't want to do that anymore, and she put her lightsaber down. That's crazy. But in the books, she's still kind of like in training. She can use the Force, she can use her saber, and she's doing really well becoming this Jedi. She also eventually has children within these books. I don't remember their names. I have listened to so much recently, I just can't remember all of the things. The last big thing that I really enjoyed in these books were the Nogri. If you remember Admiral Thrawn's right-hand assassin, he is part of the Nogri. So there's an entire planet of all these Nogri, and they serve the Empire. The only reason they serve the Empire is because Darth Vader, at some point in time during the Imperial reign, gained their loyalty, and they were loyal to Darth Vader. They actually end up calling Leia Lady Vader. They call Luke Skywalker Son of Vader. So they were very loyal to Vader. Leia had to go through this entire trial to convince them that the Empire was betraying them, that the Empire was destroying their planet, that was using them as slaves, has lied to them this entire time. So they do not serve Admiral Thrawn, they actually just serve themselves. They end up turning around and serving the heir of Vader and serving Leia and Luke, which was awesome. By the third book, things are heating up a lot. Everything has built up to this point, and the third book is the climax, and it was perfect. I absolutely thought it was a perfect end for the series. By the second book, you hear that Thrawn is using cloning capabilities again to make his own army, but he's doing it at such an accelerated course. He is creating clones within weeks instead of having them all fully developed over years like the clones from the Clone Wars. He's doing it really fast. Sabaoth is also trying to use this technology to his own advantage, so he goes to Tantus, which is a planet that we've heard of in Bad Batch, I believe, and he is on Tantus in that facility. Thrawn is making his push to Coruscant, and he's going to try to attack them and take out the New Republic. There is an attack in Coruscant from the Imperials. They're trying to attack Leia. Mara Jade actually defends her, and she protects her, even though her entire mission at this point in time, she's trying to convince herself, I have to kill Luke Skywalker. I'll play whatever part I have to play to get to the point where I have to kill Luke Skywalker. But there's this light side in her that's tearing her from that role. She ends up protecting Leia and her children. But then someone lies, an Imperial soldier that is captured lies and says that this was all orchestrated by Mara Jade. So she is arrested, but then they need to get to Tantus. So Luke and the whole band break Mara Jade out, and they take her to Tantus, and then everything just goes berserk. Luke and Mara Jade end up getting to the Emperor's throne room, and they find Sabaoth. And he's sitting there trying to persuade them, bring them to the dark side, and bring them to his side. They don't want to have anything to do with that. And he starts just toying with them, throwing them around with the Force, trying to take over Mara's mind and all these things. And then the craziest thing happened that I did not know about. I had never heard of this. It was freaking insane. A clone arrives. A clone of what, you may ask? No, it's not Sidious. We don't do that here. No, it is the clone of Luke Skywalker. I think they called him Luwak or Luwak, whatever. Weird choice of name there. Not original. But it was crazy. So they used the cloning capabilities on Tantus to create a clone of Luke Skywalker. The way they did this is, where Luke had his hand cut off on Bespin in Empire Strikes Back, they went and retrieved his hand and the lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, Luke's first lightsaber, and created a clone of Luke Skywalker by the DNA from his hand. Did not see that coming. It was probably my favorite part of that entire book. So Luke is battling against himself. He's fighting against Luke versus Luke. It's crazy. And this is stuff that I would love to see on film. I would love to see this on the big screen. Mara Jade is fighting against the voice in her head. Kill Luke Skywalker. Kill Luke Skywalker. And eventually, after this whole fight, and after taking all of these hits from Sabayoth, she realizes, I can kill Luke Skywalker now. And she does. She goes and she kills Luke Skywalker, the clone. And she fulfills her task. She didn't have to kill Luke because they're starting to warm up to each other at this point. They like each other. They work well together. He's trying to train her in the Force, and she's asking, why are you doing this? I told you that I'm going to kill you. Why do you want to train me in the Force? And he says, I want to prepare you. I want to make sure you're okay. Luke. So that is done. And then it's Luke and Mara again versus Sabayoth. And then the third person comes in. No, it's not the clone of Mara Jade. Sabayoth did hint that Mara Jade would have been cloned. And at that point, he even said, I don't need you anymore. I'll just clone you. No, but Leia Organa Solo, Lady Veda, she comes into the room. And we got 3 Force wielders. And they are going all in on Sabayoth. And eventually, Mara Jade ends up killing Sabayoth. Well done. Well done. It was an insane battle. And I thought it was perfect. And I replayed it like 5 times because every time I listened to it, I'd get distracted and I wouldn't hear all of it, and I wanted to hear all of it. And I'm telling you, this is why audiobooks, for me personally, are better than reading the book, because I have a really good, vivid imagination to an extent, but listening to a voice actor read it and you hear him talking like this, it's a different vibe. So Sabayoth's dead. That catastrophe is dealt with. Then all we have left is Thrawn. Captain Pelion, who is the captain on Thrawn's ship, gets a call from Tantus saying is being attacked by the rebels or the New Republic. And then he gets a hand clenching his neck and basically chokes him almost to death. And then Pelion stands up, he turns to Thrawn, and Thrawn's sitting there, calmly. And all of a sudden, you see that he has a red patch on his chest with a knife sticking out. And Thrawn is smirking. And Rook, the Nogri that serves him in Rebels, says, I have now had my revenge for my people. Whatever he says. Thrawn's right-hand assassin kills him and exacts justice for his people, the Nogri. And Thrawn does exactly what you would expect him to do. He smiles and say, what an artistic way to do it. And then he dies. I didn't know Thrawn was going to die, and I think the way they did it could have been handled a little better, I would have to say, in the book. It came up so abruptly. I mean, Sabayoth was the big fight, of course, in this book, and that happened, and it was insane. And Thrawn, I'm expecting we're getting close to the end of the book at this point. I'm thinking there has to be another book, or maybe something I'm missing. Did I not hear something? And then, 30 minutes left in the book, 20 minutes left, he just gets stabbed by his assassin, and then this Grand Admiral Thrawn dies. The only thing that I like is that it was the most unexpected thing that he could not have anticipated, was that his right-hand assassin was going to betray him and basically exact justice for his people. So in that way, I did like it. I felt like it could have been different. I haven't thought about it too much. I don't know what kind of other theories I would have for that or other ways I would have it to be done. But for now, that was a good way to do it. And that is it. That is the end of those 3 books. It was a very rough way of explaining it, and I apologize. I'm sure a lot of that was confusing. But I'm just excited. I'm just rambling, and I'm getting all my thoughts out. That's what I usually do. The 3rd book ends with Mara Jade and Luke on a balcony, just looking out into the Coruscant city, and he hands her his old lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, Luke's first lightsaber, the blue one that he picked up from Luke 2.0. She questions why she's getting this, and he goes, I want you to have this. This is a part of his past that he's giving to her. And there's a little bit of connection there. You could feel it. But he's also asking her to join him on doing things with Alan Carr and going to the Outer Rim and searching for things and trying to basically kind of like get rid of the Empire entirely. Eventually, she agrees and she goes with Luke, and then the book ends. And then after that, it skips like 20 years, I think, to the New Jedi Order, and Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker are married. I need something in between this last book and the New Jedi Order. The one thing that I have to touch on, that I really, really want to talk about, is how Luke Skywalker did not kill Sabayoth. Multiple times he had chances to kill Sabayoth. And it was actually kind of annoying to an extent, where he wouldn't defend his family because he had hope. He was trying to pull a Darth Vader where he didn't want to kill Darth Vader. He knew that he could come back to the light. And he kind of had this thing for Jorah Sabayoth, because Sabayoth wasn't a full-blown Sith. He was just a dark, twisted Jedi. And Luke did not want to kill him. He wanted to try to bring him back to the light. And he kept begging him, please, let me help you. You're not well. And Sabayoth was crazy and he wasn't listening to anything Luke had to say. But that was a testament to Luke not doing anything. He wouldn't kill him. Mara Jade said multiple times, I'm going to kill you, Luke Skywalker. And he knew this throughout all 3 books. He didn't kill her. He didn't do anything. He let Mara Jade walk around free around his family, his sister, around Han Solo, his brother-in-law. He did not stop her. He didn't kill her. Nothing. What did he do in the sequels? What did Luke Skywalker do in the sequels with his nephew? He feels a hint of darkness from his nephew, and he ignites his lightsaber. His nephew, who had probably already dabbled in the darkness a little bit, took that as an attempt to kill him. So everything went south. Luke, for a split second, thought, maybe I should kill my nephew because he's having some dark tendencies. Whereas Mara Jade was trained by the Emperor, the right hand of the Emperor, and was pursuing to kill Luke Skywalker. Sabayoth tried to kill Leia, Mara Jade, and Luke. He didn't kill him, but no. He's gonna kill his nephew. That's my problem with the sequels, is that inconsistency of the character of how we know Luke Skywalker. These books were fantastic. If you're an actual reader or if you're an audiobook listener, I would highly suggest these books. They were fantastic. I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 for these books. So freaking good. It's a shame that books like this are not canon anymore. They're just legends. They're just entertaining books to listen to, and I do enjoy them. But this is the kind of stuff we need on shows. I don't think these should be like full-blown movies, but I think each book should be one season of a show. 12 episodes, stuff like this, books like these are exactly what the Star Wars fans want. They're what the Star Wars fans need. Who knows? Maybe eventually we'll get these put into film, maybe movies or shows. I don't know. But I hope they do it one day, because it would be absolutely insane to watch the fight between Luke and Luke. I also want to see more of Leia learning the Force, becoming a Jedi, using her capabilities within these books. That was entertaining. And I want to see everything that happens with the Noghri and them committing themselves to Luke and Leia. That was awesome. That is it for this video. Sorry for rambling on so long. Actually, I'm not sorry, but I did ramble on, and I actually got confused multiple times recording this video because I was just all over the place. That's how excited I am about Star Wars and these books. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you've read these books and you do like them, please leave down in the comments what you think about them. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next video.